this fear mongering the entire time, I think it's very possible that they try this again in the not too distant future before we have a chance to forget it.
Fair.
And,
Well, right before the 4-year term's up with Biden, I guarantee you there will be something else going on. There always is.
Oh yeah, there'll be something. There'll be an outbreak or something. But yeah, where this
thinking
goes, at the very least, as we've talked about on here before, it goes to climate control being like this was a test run for climate control. They want to push that next. They've said it. The CNN Charlie Chester guy was exposed as saying the next thing that we're going to focus on is climate change. What do you think they're going to call it? They're going to change the name again. It was global warming, global cooling, climate
beta.
something. Yeah.
I don't know.
Climate infrastructure. It's got to have some like convoluted name that still sounds like either a really good or really bad thing.
I feel like the next thing that's going to happen, though, is going to be definitely a war. I don't know why. I just feel like it's like a war. A big war is going to happen between some country and us. And
no, not between some country and us.
We're us as a country.
Now,
a war of some sort is going to happen.
They have staged. Do you know what a PSYOP is?
No, I don't think so.
Psychological operation.
Oh, okay. Nope.
Or controlled opposition. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
It's where they, like, let's say you're a CIA plant.
Okay.
And you came in here to undermine what I'm doing. So you agree with me most of the time because you're undercover and you're giving me information.
Fair.
And I'm like, oh, sweet, this guy's giving me great information. But then you put in stuff that is also false to throw me off the scent of the things that really matter.
Got you.
So there's many cases in history of things like PSYOPs and controlled opposition and stuff like that within this or from the CIA. What was it? Hold on. Let me look up something real quick. So have you heard of Operation Northwoods? Yes, I'm going to pretend like I didn't just look that up and I'm just really, really smart and on my game today. I couldn't remember the name of it.
Operation Northwoods.
Yeah, Operation Northwoods.
I haven't heard about that.
You know what false flag attacks are?
No, man.
False flag attack is like some people say 9/11 was a false flag attack. Like definitely. It was a fake event to stir up controversy and get us into a war.
Okay, yeah.
Now, Operation Northwoods, I'll just read this first paragraph or so from Wikipedia. From Wikipedia, so you know it's legit. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against the Cuban government. The Cuban government that originated within the U.S. Department of Defense and the Joint Chief of Staff. This is back in 1962. The proposals called for the CIA or other U.S. government operatives to both stage and actually commit acts of terrorism against American military and civilian targets, blaming them on the Cuban government and using it to justify a war against Cuba. The possibilities detailed in the document included the possible assassination of Cuban immigrants, sinking boats of Cuban refugees on the high seas, hijacking planes to be shot down or given the appearance of being shot down, blowing up a U.S. ship, and orchestrating violent terrorism in U.S. cities. The proposals were rejected by President John F. Kennedy.
Ah, well, there you go.
I should have pulled up that article. There, you can read it for yourself. It's on Wikipedia. It is not a crazy conspiracy theory. It is documented history. Yet when it comes to certain things, like, you know, if somebody says 9/11 was a false flag, or somebody says the Boston Marathon was a false flag or something like that, that's absolutely insane. Our government would never do that to us, except for the fact that they have planned to do that. That was a thing they wanted to do. They wanted to kill a bunch of U.S. citizens and blame it on another country so that we could go to war with them, so that we could kill their citizens because we didn't have a reason. Think about that. The psychoticness of I want to kill those brown people so bad. I'm going to kill my people so that I can convince what's left of my people to let me kill those people.
Yeah, it's kind of...
That's the level of psychoticness that we're dealing with here.
Yes, no, it isn't.
But you're going to tell me that, you know, everything that the government does now is on the up and up and we should trust them. Now, I bring this up because you said we're going to end up in a war with somebody. Yes, I do believe that we will come up with another war, but I think that, you know, Biden says he's pulling everybody out of Afghanistan. I think we're bringing the troops home, and it's not necessarily to let them go back to sleep or go back to work or go back to being depressed from PTSD and probably killing yourself because war is hell. But Yeah, I think we're bringing the troops home for a different reason.
Yeah,
and we've already brought a bunch of them home for the inauguration when they were all. Did you see like when he was inaugurated? They had all the National Guard lined up,
That's right.
surrounding the place with barbed wire.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
Because the January 6th thing was so terrible.
Yeah, I don't.
That we had to.
Well,
now. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I do agree with that statement. Like, everything in that sense, when they said that was gonna send everyone home or back here, there has to be a reason why it's doing that. And then over there right now, isn't there like missiles? Like, well, it just finally stopped, but I forget what country it is. Help me if you know what I'm talking about. The firing missiles and blowing up the cities and everything over there. Is it Syria? Syria? I don't know. Okay, never mind. You're looking at me.
Are you talking about the Israeli conflict right now?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like fighting and blowing things up, killing people, going crazy. And now I think just the other day, I think they finally said they're stopping and they're in agreement of something.
They're not stopping. They've been doing it for 500 years.
Right.
They're not going to quit.
But like, I don't get what's going on over there, and I mean I kind of do in a sense, but like I know for a fact I feel like something bad is going to happen soon. Yeah. Don't know when, but soon.
Yeah, it could be related to that. I think a lot of that, like we have strange involvement with Israel-Palestine conflict that goes way, way back. But I don't know that much about it, so I'm not going to speak on it too much because I just don't know. Go listen to like Scott Horton or somebody. They're way better on. Scott Horton's amazing on all that stuff, and I don't know enough to speak on it. But you're right. There's definitely tension flaring up that we are hinting at being involved in the soon coming years. But my hypothesis on this matter is more so, we've got these tensions flaring at home. We've got the Black Lives Matter stuff. I think that there's certainly a possibility that a lot of the Black Lives Matter organization people are there to stir up shit and start the war here at home. Yeah. And we're bringing back the National Guard just to protect the wealthy elites so that the peasants argue amongst themselves and kill each other.
It's kind of like a purge.
Yeah. Or the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's better.
Yeah, so some of these, like, I'm not saying all of them, I don't know, but I would imagine if the CIA is willing to kill its own people in order to be allowed to kill Cubans, there's a good chance that the CIA would also be willing to kill its own people in order to divide the country completely and give them complete rule. Because if you think this out, right? If you think about if they're stirring up a war intentionally, if they're stirring up a civil war essentially, where does that go to? Like, in these protests and riots and stuff that they're calling for no more police, what is the normal person's response to that? Do they say, you're right, no police, while they're burning down cities? Or do they say, get the police in here now? We need more involvement. We need, bring the National Guard in, bring the army, bring the military into our homes just to protect us.
Yeah.
So we're stirring up this fake conflict, and it's just going to lead to more government overreach, and the wealthy elites will continue to rule and reign on high.
So I just don't understand the whole point of it all. Like, what are they trying to do? Like, even like if they say our own government wants to go to war with their citizens of our own country, and like, what's the point of all of this?
Power.
But for what?
Power.
What are they holding out on us?
Well, it's like asking, why are there billionaires in the world? Like, you should be, I'm not taking like a socialist view or whatever. I think you should certainly be allowed to be a billionaire. But if you get to a certain point where you and your children and your children's children and your children's children's children could live happily without ever working another day in your life, why do you still have all that money? Why aren't you helping spread some of that out?
I'm sure there is some people that donate and do all that stuff.
Right, but they're still billionaires. Right. Why are you a billionaire? Why do you need to be a multi-billionaire, trillionaire, or whatever?
That's a good point. I never really thought of it that way, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why do you need all that money? There's only so much things you can use with it.
It's only power. It's you get to a certain point and you're like, well, I've got it. Might as well see how much I can get of it. And I'm not going to pretend like I have understanding of what crazy people like psychos that run the country. I'm not going to pretend like I know why they do things, but you can certainly go down the spiritual route and stuff like that. Like they're working with the evil dark forces, and they the greedier they are, the more power that they obtain, the more they are rewarded for it. I don't know.
What comes down to me is a purpose. Like, what is, if you take out government and the system, you take out everything, you just look at it as a one individual person, what is the purpose of life?
Mm-hmm.
If you ask someone or ask everyone that and they give you an answer, I guarantee you, like, if they didn't talk about government or system or anything like that, they just ask you, what do you want out of life?
Right.
What do you think the first thing people would say? What would you say? What's your purpose of life? What do you want to do? What do you want to, why are you here, you think?
Are you asking me why I think I'm here, or why other people, or what other people would say? Because my answer is probably going to be something crazy.
Well, that's fine too.
I'm not a good representation of the people at large.
Well, see, that's the thing. It shouldn't be about representing others. It should be yourself. So, like, as you,
Sure.
an individual, what is your purpose of life?
Would you say that, again, are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking just you.
Okay.
Just you.
For me, I would say my purpose in life, I have a divine purpose in the fabric of humanity, that it is my job to figure out what that purpose is and approach it with everything I have, and give to other people so that I don't just become awesome, but I bring the entire human experience up with me. That is that's a little bit of it.
Okay. No, that's a good one. But then an average Joe is probably going to say, well, I just want to live my life and take care of my
That's the libertarian view.
There.
And that's on a very real grounded sense that I agree with you. I think that the main way that people can reach their full potential is, or the main way where people can reach their full potential is by being free, is by having the ability, not having all this government overreach that keeps you from seeking and becoming the thing that you were purposed for. And I think that when you find that thing, it becomes valuable to others and it brings up everyone. So it's kind of a yes, and it's a little bit communist sounding, but it's you getting government out of the way and getting all the barriers out of the way to where you can be your best self to help everyone.
So you think if there was a place in this world where you can go where there's no government, no system, and you just lived as yourself as an individual, you think you would be happy without worrying about anything, or what would you be lost because there's nothing else to think about or worry about?
I think I'd be fine.
Fair.
Most
I mean,
people probably wouldn't. No, I think, there would be loneliness. Do you mean like living in complete seclusion from everyone and only taking care of yourself?
Not even that. Like, why can't why can't there be a community of people where there's no system? Everyone just lives their life. I mean, I know the answer is because I don't think we as people can do that. I don't think we're actually able to live a life without no responsibilities, no laws, no system,
there's
no government.
always responsibilities. Like, there's natural responsibilities. There's natural consequences for decisions you make. If you work your ass off, the consequences are going to be good. If you sit around doing nothing and you accept none of the responsibility that you are given, then you will become a slothful piece of crap.
So if I was a cocaine grower or whatever you call it, and I worked my ass off every single day and I've sold this cocaine, so I made enough money to take care of my family and kids, what am I doing wrong?
Nothing.
Okay, so then that's why I'm like, this makes no sense. If there was no system or law, who is the higher power deciding you're not allowed to do that stuff? You don't do it.
Why should you not do that stuff? Because it's bad for you?
No, because again, I guess you go back to power. It's like, hey, if you're going to be making money off that and we're not getting a little bit of it, you can't do that. Like,
no, you're not even allowed to do that.
Yeah, it sucks. It's like, it's.
Do you think it's because your government loves you and they're trying to protect you from cocaine?
Absolutely not. No, cocaine's a good drug. It's a hell of a drug. I mean, I don't know, but I've heard.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it blows my mind. And if it bothers me, I can't be the only one in the world that thinks like this. And we're not allowed to think like it, it seems like.
Dude, you're talking to a bunch of libertarians right now. They're all like, you're not the only one in the world, bro. Let's pay attention.
It just sucks.
Anarchy. Anarchy is what you're talking about. You should be left alone to do whatever you want until it harms somebody else. Like, when you first came on the show, I said, do you think, like, you asked what libertarianism was, and I said, the dumbed down version of don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. Libertarians agree on one thing primarily, and it's the non-aggression principle, where I don't hurt you, you don't hurt me. Other than that, we can do what we want. Because if it's not hurting somebody else, then fine.
Why would not everyone want that? I don't get that.
That's what we're working on.
I just don't understand.
That's the end game. Yeah. Yep.
Fair. Anyway, that was my random tangent.
That was a good tangent, man. That's about yeah.
Okay.
So and I don't know how we got there from Operation Northwoods and BLM stuff and
Talking about
war at home stuff.
War.
Yeah. I think that and you ask why they need more power. If they keep us divided, if they keep us arguing, if they keep us bitching about race and gender and colors and different things and words, evil words, if we're focusing on that, we're not focusing on the big picture,
right.
which is why, if there is, let's say, institutional racism, or if there is something on the law books that's keeping certain groups of people in certain places, why is that? Who put that there? It wasn't me.
No.
It wasn't you.
No, I don't know, man. It's
The fucking government. And, it's not even just that. It's like if you start to break each thing down, each problem that you have in your life, I'm not saying like everybody's a victim of government oppression or whatever. I'm saying there are problems in your life. If you actually step back and think about a big picture, what caused that? And then what caused that? And then what caused that? Government's in there somewhere. I'm failing to come up with an example, but yeah, drugs. You brought up drugs.
Yep.
If the government didn't tell you you're not allowed to do meth, would you do meth?
I mean, I don't have no interest to do meth just because I visually see what it does to people.
Exactly.
So I don't need them to tell me not to do it.
Do you need them to take your money to lock other people up who decide to do meth?
No, because that's their decision. I mean, that's if they want to destroy.
No, it's not. It's against the law.
Well, it shouldn't be a law. It should be your own choice. If you want to screw your life up like that, and then go,
exactly.
So be it. Have
Exactly.
fun. Some people may not. Maybe it has a different. Maybe some guy in the world that does meth. Maybe he has control over it. Maybe he's like, I only do it to do this, and I'm fine. I don't know who that would be, but
yeah, me. It's me.
Yeah,
just kidding.
I just don't understand why someone that's higher above us has to put a penalty on and all of it.
Yeah,
like, stupid.
What? Excuse me.
Yes.
Do you believe that all men were created equal, or all men? Intrinsically, as babies, do you think that certain people are born with more value as humans than other people?
As a baby, you mean?
Yeah, just right off the bat.
I mean, I guess it would be. It depends on where they're growing up at. I mean, you could have a.
Does he have more value though?
No, everyone's be the same because you're a baby. I mean, you're
exactly.
coming. You're nothing.
Exactly.
You're pretty much relying on your parents or whoever your provider of care is to take care of you.
Yep.
So. I mean, I don't know.
Some people,
I don't know what happens.
That baby grows up to be somebody who has the ability to tell other people, you can't do this, you can't do that. I am an authority over you.
Right.
Now, the problem with that, I mean, you could say, well, they were democratically elected. We put them there. We chose for them to be there. But the problem is that once they're there, they never give any of the power back. They never pull it back. Or like you never have senators voting for, hey, I want to make less money this year, so let's do that. It's always ever expanding. And I had another thought on this, but did you have something to say?
I don't know now.
Say something.
I was going to say something. Forgot now. I lost my train of thought. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, just the idea that certain people... Oh, I remember what it was. So if we're all equal from the get-go, and we all have to earn our value and create our value over our lives, then even if you say that it's democracy is this bunch of contracts between the people and the people that they serve, or the people that are serving, they're supposed to be serving us. They're supposed to be representing us and doing the things that we tell them to. Do you feel like they do that? No,
not at all.
Even if they were, the problem is that we are in a social contract. We are not allowed to be outside of this contract that we're born into in being born in this country. It is an agreement between the state and the government and us. We have this agreement. One side of this agreement has the ability to choose to not be a part of this agreement anymore. You don't. You're the other part of this agreement. They can break the contract. They're like Facebook. They can break the contract. It doesn't matter. They can go, like, all the stuff written in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they can just completely overdo that. It's been done many times this last year. But, we don't get to decide, hey, I don't accept your authority in this relationship that we have together. You're just some people. Why are you telling me not to smoke weed?
Right. That's another thing I don't get to. I do remember the point I was going to bring up. You were talking about, being a baby, being brought into this earth, being valued equally. By me having kids and me hanging out with them, like I have 4 kids. They're all different. It's crazy to watch all of them have the one thing in common, and that's just being high on life, because they don't know what's going on.
Stop giving your kids weed, Travis. Like, speaking of weed, I've got 4 kids. They are high on life, is what I'm gonna call it.
But
they're high.
They just don't know the difference between all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. You can have, honestly, I've done this to one of my kids when this crazy racial stuff was going on with, Black Lives Matter and everything. Yeah. I had a daughter. I had one of my daughters look at a picture, and it was 3 different kids playing.
Yeah.
And one was a black baby, an Asian baby, and a white baby. And I said, "Do you see anything weird about this picture at all?" And all she said, "No." I'm like, "What are they doing?" "They're playing." I'm like, "Well, what's different about them?" And then one girl says that one had long hair. And I was like, "Oh, okay. You see anything else that's weird about it?" And
that one's Chinese.
Yeah, they don't know.
The baby's or your kid is just like, something weird about that one. Looks a little,
just a little different.
Looks a little communist.
It just blows my mind how, like, they don't. And that doesn't blow my mind. Actually, it should be like that. It should be.
That was normal when we were kids. I know we grew up in the middle of a cornfield, but we didn't think about this. And it's not just us. It's not just where we grew up. If you watch TV from back then, there was diversity all over the place. There was inclusion, and it just wasn't. It wasn't everything. Like, we just accepted that's a person, and that's a person, and that's another person.
Right.
Great.
Done over with.
Great.
What
Who cares?
Why is it? When did
what happened? It changed when some of these activists were, like, going up against, like, Wall Street and going up against the wars and stuff like that. The left used to care about bringing down the big banks and bringing down or ending the wars. You never hear a leftist really talk that much about war anymore. Of all their, like, 10 candidates, only one of them, Tulsi Gabbard, talked about ending war on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. Like, the reason why this whole diversity thing has come to be, and from what I assume, I'm not saying that this is, but it seems pretty obvious that this was a plan to keep them from focusing on the big problems of wars and government and, the things that everybody would agree on, the things that the left and the right and the center and everybody on the fringe would all agree. We need to, if we actually look at these things, we need to bring back the wars. We need to have less government overreach. We need, like, almost everybody would agree the government needs less power. They don't want us talking about that. Right, so they're going to have us talk about things that we can't even change.
Right.
You can't change your skin color unless you're Michael Jackson. And it's generally frowned upon these days, but you can't change your skin color. You're born this way. These are you can't. I was going to say gender.
Well, you can do that.
That's a touchy one. Yeah.
This new generation now. I'm starting to see that you are able to change these things. But why? Is it us doing that to our future that they want to change? I don't remember growing up and being like, I want to be a girl, or I want to be black.
Well, it's so popularized now. It's
crazy.
But why? I feel like, and this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but I feel like there's a lot of men that grew up like more effeminate men. They were beaten down by the system. You're told that you're automatically bad if you are a man. However, the men are also telling you that you're not a man because you're a little wussy boy. We've got a lot of like, I don't want to say like beta or whatever.
Yes.
Not your like gruff man's men. They didn't have a super easy time, I would imagine, and there's a cat climbing up here.
She's coming.
Yeah. I just feel like, if men beat down their own, then they become depressed and they have some mental things,
This is
and
crazy.
they look around at the social climate and they say, well, that person is being praised for transitioning from a man to a woman. I'm not saying like they sit down and plot this out. I'm saying that psychology eventually weighs on you when you're in a depressive state and you feel like you're born in the wrong body. Maybe all of a sudden, or maybe for a long time, but feeling like you're wrong, like feeling like you are wrong in your body because all the men said, "Oh, you're gay" or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
The power of words is insane. The power of how do you treat people is even more insane to me. You can literally go up to a person, say for instance, you go on an afternoon, you go into a bar to have a beer, and then you see a guy sitting there, he's drinking, and you make one comment to him, just one little comment, that may change his life completely. You don't know what he's been through or what he's done.
Yeah.
And you may say, you look gay today. You're wearing a pink shirt. Maybe
Hey man, looking gay.
something stupid like that. Something so simple, but that in his head, he's been traumatized his whole life. And that one last thing you just said, I'm done. He goes home, hangs himself, he's over with. It's just something so simple. Like how you treat people can change so much.
Yeah. And so I don't say these things to bully people either.
Right.
Like if you're in that situation, as I've said many times on the show, I feel for you. I care about your mental health, and if the reality is that doing this thing is genuinely, honestly better for your mental health, then I guess do it. But kids jumping to that conclusion right off the bat, or jumping to that conclusion and being allowed to do it, whether their parents say they can or not, that's bad. That's bad grounds. But I feel like getting back to what we were talking about, all these things like the race and the gender and all the division that is kind of arbitrary. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're free or, whether or not you have your own liberties and you're able to roam about as you please. It's putting all the focus on things that people can't change. You not only can't change your color, you can't change racists. Like, you can't.
Yeah. No, you really can't.
You can't by doing what they're doing, which is kind of the point, I think. Like, you could change a racist's mind, sure. You could convince them, probably. What do you think is going to change a racist's mind? Is it going to be shouting at him and burning down his business? Or is it going to be talking to him? Or just showing him that you're a loving person and you're not the thing that he assumes that you are with his idiot opinions?
Integrity. That's all I can say. Your integrity is what you should be able to change in someone's thought about someone.
Right. Martin Luther King said, I dream of a day where we will judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
Yes.
Now we've gone to, in the name of racial justice, we got to judge you by the color of your skin.
Yep.
You are born white, so you're born bad, and you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I think that it's all a distraction. It's all a diversion away from all the stuff that they're doing behind the scenes. Not just the stuff that we see, but the stuff that we don't see. Like, if they're willing to do this stuff on the surface, then we've got things like Operation Northwoods behind the scenes that we won't hear about until 50 years from now when we look back on this and see that we were all focused on race while they were blank.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yep. I agree with all that. That's where it ties in.
See, it all comes together, and I planned it this way. No, I had a bunch more to talk about that we didn't get to, and I might do a bonus. I know you got to get going here, but this is fine. I would prefer that we start off with news and get on a side tangent of pontificating and having a real conversation. News is good filler, but I'm going to talk about Rand Paul. We were going to do that, but we'll save it. Either I'll do it alone or I'll have Travis on later.
Sure.
Yeah, Travis, any final thoughts? We're pushing an hour and a half now.
Oh, wow. Oh, it is that time.
Yeah.
No, man. This has been a good show. Got
Yeah.
to talk a little bit. Gotta.
What's that supposed to mean? Well, people heard my voice for the first time.
No, it was it's just nice to vent and talk about that with another human being because I feel like no one talks about it enough. And if you do, you get judged and everyone gets offended and it's annoying.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And that is the point of this show, is to have the conversation. We might be completely wrong. We might be completely stupid about everything. And I know you've already clicked off by now. You're already offended and moved on your merry way. But if you made it this far, just know we're not saying I know blank. We're saying let's talk about blank and figure out what truth is. Because I don't know. Truth is subjective these days. People think that truth changes based on what you think or what you feel. But there is truth. I think that there is an objective truth to every single thing. There is what is, and then there's what what everything else isn't.
Yes.
I think that truth is like a drop of sand floating down in an ocean of lies. That's how I see the world.
That is a good picture to put. Actually.
And now I'm going to dive into the ocean and come hell or high water, which the high water is already there at that point because it's the ocean. Bad analogy. Yeah. But come hell or high water, I'm going to find that truth, even if I am like drowning and smothering in the world as it happens to me. But
I'm going to throw a spin, and I know this is kind of going out in left field. Now, for us to think that there's a system and then like a higher power of some sort, and we get raised and we follow a system from day one. What about people put life and death in it? Like death. We don't know death at all. Like, what if, crazy thought, and this is not a high thought because I'm not high, but
sure.
What if there's the answer of out there in the world, we already know what it is. We have seen it. We know where we go. We know what death is. If death is a thing, maybe you just disappear, you die, whatever, and your soul goes wherever. What if there's something higher that we don't know about? And like someone already knows that's above and beyond us, and they're keeping it from us because we're just not ready to know that yet. Or
are you saying God or aliens or what?
Is it God? Is it aliens? Do we know? That's the thing. Another thing that I always have a trouble with trying to figure out, because government and God to me is almost the same thing.
Yeah. If you as I think it was Hobson who said in one of his songs, if God's not real, I guess the next highest power is God, and I guess the government's God.
Yeah.
And that's the plan. That's the point. That's the point of all this. Is I think that, and this is not an original concept. I think it was Dave Smith that brought this up, but maybe it wasn't Dave Smith. I don't remember. But I believe that people are like, you can see that people were created to worship. They're going to worship something.
Yes.
They're going to find a higher power and they're going to worship it. Or they're going to seek becoming gods and becoming that higher power. And that happened all throughout the Bible if you look into it. But there are people now that just see that, or they see themselves as the higher power. And then there's the rest of us that are either, like, I don't think it's an accident that they have really demonized Christianity and they focus on the problems in the Bible, like the contradictions or whatever, the stuff that people have done in the past. They focus on that more than, the endless amounts of charitable work and stuff that churches have done. I have my problems with churches, you guys know too, but you're taking the idea that you are responsible, or you have to answer to something. Like you have an authority in a God-like figure or a religion. If you take that out, then you just go to worshiping the power that is above you right now, which is government. I don't know if that answered your question or had anything to do with what you just said.
No, it does. It gets a gist of it, at least. It's just, to me, I'm never going to know. No matter what I do in this life, I'm personally never going to know. I could have an epiphany. I could have a feeling. I could have...
I mean, you're never going to be convinced if you do know? Like, you're never going to be satisfied.
Yeah, I will probably never get that feeling where I'm like, oh, I know the answers now. Because I don't know.
I don't
think anybody
might.
Knows.
Like,
really?
If we don't understand what the truth is or what the full picture is together, if you did happen upon that grain of sand, I feel like you'd probably know.
Well, yeah, that's like, to me, that's a huge thing, though. Like, what if, say, for instance, God himself or Jesus or whatever comes down and talks to me personally? That's literally going to be the only thing I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go more in this direction.
You would still probably write that off in some way.
Yeah, like probably could.
That's what our brains go to. Well, I think I saw a guy standing in front of me, but it's possible that I just had too much to drink last night. I don't know.
Right. That's the thing. Like, and I hate to put the seeing as believing thing, because that's not necessarily true either. It's just, there's too much there to figure out. And our purpose of life, back on when I said purpose, is like we're born into this world and we're put here to figure something out, and we're throwing all these different obstacles and all this crazy stuff where we just need to sit back and relax and enjoy the life that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we need to enjoy the life that we have, but we need to be focusing more on just bettering ourselves, being the best thing that we can be for ourselves and the people around us, because I think that is... even if that's not the point to life, it's not going to hurt.
No.
It's only going to get you closer to the answer.
Right.
So
I agree. Cool.
whatever, we gotta go. This
Yeah.
has been fun though. Let's pontificate about some spirituality some more in the future
Yes.
as we do. And I haven't done enough of that on this show because it's a weird thing to do solo to
Yeah, I bet.
be like, I wonder if God's real.
You got the perfect person.
Well, let's look it up on Wikipedia. No, they said no. They said yes. It's government.
Here's another question, just real quick. Maybe you can answer
Praise
for me.
Gov.
The Bible has been written from how many years ago? Like thousands, whatever, blah, blah.
Are you going to open a giant can of worms while I'm trying to get you out the door so you can be with your family?
This is a ponder question where you can come back to.
So yes.
I actually don't know. I could be wrong. Bible has been written and put together by a lot of different people and revisited and all that.
Yep.
Is the Bible still being written
What do you mean?
today? Is it still being written, or did it just stop?
Well, it depends on what you mean by the Bible.
So, the Bible to me is like a book of.
There's still people reinterpreting everything and rewriting everything.
But why aren't we still writing?
Why aren't there prophets still who are getting messages from God and writing it down?
Yeah, what happened?
Exactly. That's a whole episode of its own.
I need to really answer that
'cause
someday.
Not only do we say that they don't exist anymore, but if somebody comes out and says I'm a prophet, we say you're a heretic and you're anti-God. You're a crazy person. So
That right there, that alone question to me is the reason why I second guess everything in my life. Because I'm like, why? What happened that just stopped? Like, why did we stop writing it?
right,
And when did it stop?
right.
Oh.
The science is settled.
Fair.
Because the book of Revelation ends with the end. It does say in the Bible there should not be more added to or taken away from this word. It is the word of God. It is infallible, and I can debate that too. That's why I put up the air quotes. Yeah. And then the Catholic Church took out some books, and it's been rewritten in many languages, and it's been dumbed down for American English. Can you write down in American English? You cannot change this. Like, you're changing it in the process of writing it.
Right.
I don't know. We'll talk about it next time.
I'll make questionable decisions.